The 1960s were a golden age for American automobiles, a decade that gave us some of the most iconic, stylish, and beloved cars in history. From chrome-covered cruisers to muscle-bound beasts, this era shaped the dreams of generations. But not every car from the 60s earned a spot in the Hall of Fame. In fact, a few became infamous for all the wrong reasons, plagued by poor design, unreliable performance, or simply cursed by timing and mismanagement. In this video, we're counting down 3 of the worst cars of the 1960s that may just surprise you. Some of them looked great on paper, but ended up as costly flops. And hey, if you're enjoying this dive into automotive history, consider hitting that subscribe button. Your support keeps us rolling and helps us bring you even more deep cuts from the world of classic cars. Every click fuels our passion. Now let's jump into number 3. Number 3, the 1960 Ford Edsel, a lesson in how not to launch a car. When it comes to automotive disasters, few names are as legendary as the Edsel. Initially launched in 1958 with massive hype and expectations, the Edsel was supposed to revolutionize Ford's lineup. Instead, it crashed and burned hard. By 1960, Ford made one final attempt to salvage the sinking brand with a more modest version of the Edsel. This last-ditch effort resulted in the 1960 Ford Edsel, a car that's now remembered more for its failure than any engineering feat. Gone were the flashy, futuristic flourishes of earlier Edsels. In their place, a toned-down design based heavily on the existing Ford Ranger. The idea was to make the Edsel more palatable to the average buyer, but by this point, the damage was already done. While the 1960 Edsel ditched some of the bizarre and controversial styling cues of its predecessors, most notably that infamous horse-collar grille, it couldn't shake the reputation of the brand. Even with more conservative styling, public opinion had turned and buyers stayed away. Worse yet, the Edsel was riddled with mechanical issues. Inconsistent build quality, electrical problems, and engine troubles plagued the car, leading to widespread frustration. Consumers who took a chance on the Edsel were often rewarded with breakdowns and disappointment. Another nail in the coffin, the price tag. Positioned awkwardly in the mid-range market, the Edsel cost more than comparable models from rivals, without delivering the value or reliability consumers expected. In a highly competitive market, this was a critical misstep. Then there was the marketing. Ford had spent a fortune hyping the Edsel, promising revolutionary innovation. But when the car failed to live up to the buzz, public backlash was swift and merciless. The Edsel became a symbol of corporate overreach and poor market research. In the end, the 1960 Edsel wasn't just a failed car. It marked the end of the entire Edsel brand. Ford pulled the plug that same year, making it one of the shortest-lived marques in automotive history. Still, there's a strange twist to the Edsel story. Today, its legacy lives on, not just as a cautionary tale in business schools, but as a cult collectible among classic car enthusiasts. Rare, well-preserved examples of the Edsel now fetch surprising prices, valued more for their story than their performance. So while the 1960 Edsel closed a rocky chapter in Ford's history, it remains a fascinating symbol of how even the biggest automakers can stumble when they misread the market. Number 2. Next up, the 1961 Dodge Dart, a car that struggled to find its footing in a rapidly evolving automotive landscape. Originally launched to compete in the full-size segment, the Dart's 1961 redesign attempted to reposition it as a more compact offering. But instead of capturing a new market, it created confusion and ultimately disappointment. What stood out most was its design. Dodge took a daring approach with the 1961 Dart, giving it exaggerated tail fins, a wide and unconventional front grille, and a silhouette that sharply contrasted with the conservative lines dominating the era. It was meant to stand out, but instead, many found it awkward, even cartoonish. For every person who praised its uniqueness, there were many more who simply couldn't get past the look. Size also played a role in the Dart's identity crisis. While marketed as a compact car, it was still relatively large, too big for the compact buyers, and too odd-looking for the full-size crowd. It didn't quite belong in either category, making it a tough sell all around. Beneath the surface, things didn't get much better. The Dart suffered from a range of mechanical issues that tarnished its reputation. Owners reported recurring problems with the transmission, engine reliability, and electrical systems. These issues made for a frustrating ownership experience and undermined customer trust. Adding to the struggle was subpar build quality. Reports of inconsistent assembly and the use of cheaper materials gave the car a budget feel, at odds with Dodge's pricing and promises. Buyers looking for quality craftsmanship often turned elsewhere. The 1961 Dodge Dart, in hindsight, is a classic example of a car that tried to be everything and ended up pleasing no one. It was a product of its time, a bold experiment in a decade known for pushing design boundaries, but one that simply didn't hit the mark. And yet, like many of the cars on this list, it has found a second life among collectors. Its oddball styling and unique place in Mopar history have earned it a small, loyal following. For enthusiasts, the 1961 Dart is a reminder of an era when automakers were willing to take chances, even if those risks didn't always pay off. Number 1. 1960 Plymouth Valiant. Ambition meets awkward execution. And finally, we arrive at what may be the most polarizing entry on our list, the 1960 Plymouth Valiant. When Chrysler introduced the Valiant under the Plymouth banner, it was entering a new battleground, one shaped by rising demand for smaller, more economical cars. On paper, the Valiant had plenty going for it. It featured a unibody construction, a relatively advanced choice at the time, and was powered by the now legendary 170 cubic inch slant-6 engine, known for its durability and efficiency. The Valiant was offered in several configurations, including sedan, wagon, and a stylish two-door hardtop. But where it stumbled hard was in the design department. Styled under Chrysler's bold design chief Virgil Exner, the Valiant wore sharp lines, a protruding front grille, and exaggerated rear fins. It was futuristic, yes, but not in the sleek space-age way consumers had come to admire. Instead, many found the car awkward, almost alien. Its appearance polarized potential buyers and turned off much of the mainstream market. And it wasn't just about looks. Early models of the Valiant were plagued by quality control issues. Owners reported recurring problems with transmissions, electrical components, and engine reliability. Even the otherwise solid Slant 6 couldn't save the car from a growing reputation for mechanical headaches. Compared to its rivals, like the Chevrolet Corvair or Ford Falcon, the Valiant lacked polish. The interior materials felt cheap, the fit and finish subpar, and the overall driving experience left much to be desired. In an era when buyers were growing more discerning, the Valiant fell short of expectations. Still, the story of the 1960 Plymouth Valiant isn't all doom and gloom. While it failed to become a mainstream success, it did showcase Chrysler's willingness to innovate. The unibody frame and slant-6 engine would go on to influence many future models. And today, the Valiant enjoys a quirky sort of respect from classic car fans who admire its boldness and historical value. It may not be a showstopper, but it's certainly a conversation starter. Not every classic is a keeper. So there you have it, 3 of the worst American cars of the 1960s, each with its own unique story of missteps, misjudgments, and misunderstood ambition. While they may not have earned praise in their time, these cars remind us that even failures play a role in shaping automotive history. They pushed boundaries, took risks, and ultimately helped guide the industry toward better, more refined designs. If you enjoyed this breakdown of forgotten flops and design disasters, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the best and worst of classic cars. Have a car you think deserves to be on this list? Drop it in the comments. We love hearing your thoughts. Until next time, keep those engines running and that history alive.